Hello, guys, and welcome to Odds on Serie A, match day 17th. And the Serie A, Danny, is very open after what we've seen in the first match day in this 2023. How are you, Daniele Fisichella?
I'm very well, and we enjoyed a great round of fixtures. All the games played on the same day. Inter beat Napoli 1-0, so they go -8. Milan and Juventus say thank you very much. Milan -5, Juventus -7. Wide open.
This is a special match day because La Befana is coming on the 6th. Is the one who give present to the Italian children, and then in the weekend we have all the games. So remember, of course, comment the video, tell us your tips, press the like, and subscribe. So, Danny, as I said, with all the presents, the children will go to the stadium. On Saturday, the first game we have at 3 p.m. local time, we have Fiorentina, Sassuolo. Sassuolo started the year as they were doing in the previous one. So losing, they are in really bad form, only 1 point in the last 5 games, and the defeat came at home against Sampdoria. Whereas for Fiorentina, Danny, we also expected them to do a little bit better against Monza.
Well, the good kids get the present, the bad kids get the charcoal. So I think Sassuolo probably going to get the charcoal. They deserved to lose against Sampdoria. Really should do better, Sassuolo, for the quality of players they got. The good news for them is that Berardi is back and he scored. But again, the same problems at the back. Very, very leaky, conceded 2 goals. And, they gave Sampdoria the win, only the second win for Sampdoria this season, as Sassuolo traveling is not better so far. I think, yes, the level of the team has gone down unexpectedly this season. Fiorentina, as we highlighted in the other video, they find the net, they score. I think they solved the goal scoring problems. Actually, they had a lot of chances to score a couple of goals, but they didn't take them. And in the end, Monza, a technically good team, managed to equalize. None of the teams is stable set, but I think Fiorentina home is good value for goals, and I think Sassuolo could contribute as well to the goals. Remember, this one probably going to see a couple of changes in formations, maybe a few players that don't play a lot, because obviously they got the game just gone. Over 2.5 goals, I like 183.
All right. Also on Saturday, we have Udinese. Juve doing the Juve thing. So winning in the very last minute. 7th victory in a row. 7th victory, 2-0 in a row. This is the classic Juve, and they are in the Scudetto race, Danny, especially because they have Napoli in the next match day. So they have to keep the run against an Udinese that is still unable to win. No victories in the last 8.
Yeah, and for Juventus, this is a key game, because if by winning they would go -4 to Napoli, waiting for Napoli to play Genoa against Sampdoria. Juventus, you did it mentioned really, really well, but they also won the game. They lost to Milan in the last defeat 2-0, and then the other game they won was another win 2-0. So 8 out of the last 9 win for Juventus were 2-0. Far from spectacular, but remember, in the game against Cremonese, they had a lot of chances. Carnesecchi, the goalkeeper from Cremonese, made some great saves, but Cremonese hit the post, had a goal disallowed. If anything, Juventus could have actually lost it, and in the end they won in the last minute with a good free kick from Milik. Maybe Carnesecchi there could have done better. So in the end, great victory again. We saw some glimpses of the new Juventus that could be, because of course Chiesa is back. The young players, Fagioli, Miretti, Suale played as well, and that's a good news for Allegri. Obviously, he's been able to inject some pace and say youth into the team, but the team is obviously still a work in progress, without Di Maria, probably still without Vlahovic. I'm not expecting anything spectacular from Juve. A win 2-0 would be good. Udinese, no wins in 8. Again, a team that probably started too fast, too strong. Now they look leggy, very surprisingly, even after the break. Only 1-1 against Empoli. Udinese at home doesn't get beaten, but they don't win. Away from home, I think, they're probably going to play a counter-attacking game. Under 2.5 goals, 205 with Juventus win 2-0. That would be my best bet.
A classic always, Juventus to win 2-0. And if Juventus are in the Scudetto race, also we can say exactly the same from Inter Milan after that great victory against Napoli. Very important one, 7 victories in the last 8 games. We saw together, Danny, Lukaku with Dzeko, and they are playing against a newly promoted team like Monza, but it won't be easy. This Monza is competing really well.
It was a great win for the morale of Inter, and also because they deserve to win. They had the best chances against Napoli. They played a tight, compact game, similar to the one that they played against Barcelona in the Champions League. They had chances in the first half, took the chances well in the second half, and in the end, Onana made the first save only in the 89th minute, so they kept Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia really, really quiet. Good choice from Inzaghi to go with Darmian against the Georgian, who really didn't do much, as well as at the back. Inter were solid for a team that conceded 22 goals so far. It was a good display, and up front, Dzeko again making the difference. Look, I think it's been a good start for Inter, -8. They need to basically keep winning and try not to concede as many as they did away from home. So far, they conceded 18 goals. But, it wasn't spectacular. I think that's the best Inter we could see. Solid, compact, creating a few chances. Lukaku still need to get best to back to his best self. I mean, he looks a little bit out of shape. And Monza, as I expected, they score a Frankie. They got a technical midfield. They got experience up front. The 3-5-2 system works really well with the two wing backs, so they're gonna match Inter style of play. And it's a team that has scored against Juventus, has scored against Fiorentina, has scored against Milan. They're not afraid of going forward. I think there's going to be a both to score here, considering also Inter defensively away from home, they're not being great so far. 178, both to score, Monza Inter.
All right, let's move on the games we have on Sunday. The first one is Salernitana Torino. I think this one is a very tough one to call. Salernitana, 3 consecutive defeats. We saw Memo Ochoa in the goal, and Torino in the middle of the table. A disappointing draw, Danny, against Verona in the first game of the year.
If it wasn't for Memo Ochoa, Salernitana would have lost 8-1 to Milan. He was outstanding. He made 9 saves, some of them point blank. I mean, a fantastic goalkeeper. Against any other team, he would have been the man of the match. Salernitana would have won the game. A Salernitana that was depleted against Milan without Candreva, without Mazzocchi. They're getting back Candreva for this one, so didn't create much at the beginning. They were stunned by the way Milan played the first 20 minutes, but slowly go back into the game. Whereas for Torino, disappointing because they conceded against Verona in the only possible way they could have conceded, so by corner and with a goal from Milan Juric. And then they tried, they knocked on the door, they found a great goal with Miranchuk. The lack of a striker, the lack of cutting edge is still an issue for Torino, who had a glorious chance in the 94th minute to score 2-1 with Sasa Lukic. His header just went wide, but disappointing for Torino, who again, like last season, they don't score many goals, although it is a team that concede very few as well. But, I cannot see a great goal fest here. 2 teams that are very well organized. I'm going to go for both to score no, and perhaps even a Salernitana win 2-0. But I'm going to go both to score no here, which pays 2 is a great return.
And next game is Lazio Empoli, another disappointing team in the first match day of the year. Was Lazio out of the Champions League spots now? Defeat against Lecce. We were mentioning, Danny, in our previous video that it was tough to go to Lecce, and you pointed out also Immobile to score. He did take the lead, but at the end, Lazio lost, and now they are facing Empoli, also with no victories in the last 4 away games. Should we trust this Lazio with these low odds? It's not even 1.6 Lazio to win.
Look, the thing with Lazio is that they got lapses in concentration, and they show it again at Lecce, but it's the same story that they've been showing for the last couple of years. I remember a few defeats in Europe as well. They take the lead, then they drop down the level. They cannot capitalize on the chances they create, and then in the second half, they're almost unable to get out of the block and to score. And they conceded 2 in the second half, Lazio, against a very strong Lecce side, especially at home. is a team that is really, probably of the three newly promoted, is the one that nobody wants to play at the moment. But they got firepower, Lazio. Immobile was fired up. The three up front, Zaccagni, Pedro. I think and Neil Anderson, I think they should be well rested. And usually at home Lazio does deliver. With Empoli is interesting because they signed Caputo from Sampdoria, and I think that adds to the firepower. A striker that hasn't found a lot of space. And Genova, they also, it is a young side that is not afraid of going forward as well. And I think they got enough points in the Tally to go to the Olimpico and play their game. Over 2.5 goals I like, but they can also go both to score here. 188.
Next game is Spezia Lecce. As I mentioned before, Lecce 3 consecutive victories, the last one against Lazio. It's amazing what they are doing. Actually, 9 points away from the relegation spots, and this is a direct game between two relegation teams, stragglers. Danny, still both away from the relegation spots, because Spezia, they are 5 points away from the bottom three. They drew against Atalanta, but they were this close to get the victory.
Yeah, they were 2-0 up, and in the end, a bit of fatigue, and Atalanta created a lot of chances, and the win slipped away for Spezia. It would have been massive considering the Sampdoria had beaten Sassuolo earlier, but Spezia again confirms that at home they are a very tough nut to crack. They score in every single home game. Balanzola is on fire, 8th goal for him, and I think Gotti has got them really well set up, especially when they play at the Stadio Pico. When they travel is a different argument, but they are a team that is not afraid of going forward, and they play against a Lecce side that can do it against the top teams. They can do it against the small teams as well. They won in Genova recently, so even when they travel away, especially with Banda, with Strefezza, with Colombo, it is a team that really can hit you on the counter. It is a game that I could see a draw, for example. I think the draw odds here are really good, but you can also go for both to score. 199 almost doubles your stake. As I said, Spezia home, good value for scoring goals, and Lecce can always contribute. Both to score 199.
Well, if you are brave enough, you can go for the draw 3.4, following, for instance, Radek's strategy, of betting, for instance, 1/3 of your unit, and you can have a great return. And not far from Spezia, Danny, we have Genova, and there we have a big game, Sampdoria Napoli, because we have to see the reaction from Napoli after the first defeat of the season. Still 5 points margin with the second, but next game is Juve, and we have Sampdoria, that perhaps is a newborn Sampdoria after that victory in Sassuolo.
Yes, I mean, it was what they needed. Injection of confidence, new players as well, because they got Lammers and Nuitink at the back, so a bit of more new blood there. Gabbiadini playing up front alongside the Dutch Lammers. It seems working a little bit better, and it's an important win, only the second win of the season, only obviously for Spezia to pick up a point, so obviously they need a lot of grounds to cover. Side that at home has struggled so far. Against Napoli, who looked a little bit scared against Inter. I don't know, the big occasions. Everyone talked up about this game for 7 weeks, basically since the break. They were not themselves. They had a lot of the ball. The possession got up to 67% at the point. They really couldn't create many chances. Kvaratskhelia was controlled well by Darmian. Osimhen didn't have a lot of chances. Politano was disappointing, so I'm expecting Lozano to start this one, but they couldn't move the ball quickly enough, and they left warring ups at the back. Inter played really well, especially in wide areas with the wing backs. I wonder whether Sampdoria is going to set up the same with a 3-5-2 and try to exploit the width in behind of Kvaratskhelia and probably Lozano. Yes, Napoli defensively were worrying in a way. Surprisingly, Rachmani got a start, was the first start since October after his injury, and is a fault for Dzeko's goal. But everyone expects Napoli now to choke, to stumble. Everyone expects Spalletti to lose points in the second half of the season. It always does. I don't see that. I think that for this one, Napoli are going to react. We have seen them playing really well. We see them putting away teams that are inferior to them easily. And I'm expecting them to go to Genoa and win, maybe not in a spectacular fashion, but I'm going to expect them to win with a good margin. I'm going to go for a nation handicap here, -1, which pays well, 172 for the league leaders, which remember, they only lost one game so far this season at San Siro 3 days ago. -1, Sampdoria, Napoli. Napoli has an handicap -1, 172.
Okay, Napoli to bounce back because behind they have Milan, for instance, poursuivant, no? As we can see in the Tour de France. Milan-Roma, this is the best game we have in this match day. Massive game because Milan, they beat Salernitana away. As you mentioned before, Danny, they even deserved more goals in that game. The last game at home was against Fiorentina. Remember, they struggled in the last game of the year, and now they face a Roma that beat Bologna, but still Dybala went out, injury. They were playing without a number 9, Danny, with Zaniolo, Dybala, and El Shaarawy in the victory against Bologna. And the head-to-head between these two teams lately, we are only seeing Milan victories. The last victory for Roma in San Siro against Milan was in 2017.
Ages ago. And yeah, the gap between these two teams has widened a lot. Roma, I think they are the underachievers so far of this season. We were expecting them not only to have more points on the table, but to play better. It is a team that sometimes seems to set up not to lose rather than to win. I know Mourinho has got some issues with some of the players. Perhaps he's not trusting Abraham enough as he was doing before. He had issues with Karsdorp as well. Now Selic is playing on the right-hand side. But it's a Roma side that, yeah, after they scored the initial goal with Pellegrini, really didn't create a lot. And in the end, they had to be saved because, Abraham had to clear a goal on the line, otherwise Bologna would have equalized. Yes, Roma have won at San Siro against Inter, so they won a big game, but normally these big games, I think they seem to me far too negative. Let's see how they go. I mean, I think if they go with 3-5-2, again, it's very, very defensive. Milan, they were amazing in the first 25 minutes against Salernitana, very quick off the block. Leao, you tell he had a quiet World Cup. He wanted to leave his mark, and he did. And when Milan plays with Tonali and Benacer in the middle of the pitch, I think really they boss the game, and there is very few chances for the opposition. Okay, they left a few gaps at the back. Salernitana were courageous and took the chances, but in the end, it was a clear win for Milan. If it wasn't for Ochoa, they would have scored 7 or 8. I could imagine them obviously playing after Napoli. They will have to be fired up. They are 5 points behind the champions and need to keep the chase on. In terms of the odds, the win for Milan, and Milan that is getting back all of the injury players, pays really well, 192. Considering also the stats, I think I will take that. A Milan win regardless of the score, 192. That's what I like.
Indeed, good odds, and we go from the Scudetto battle to the relegation one. Verona, Cremonese, the worst two teams in Serie A. This is the game for both teams to lose, Danny, but at least we saw Verona getting a point against Torino. We saw Cremonese fighting until the end against Juve. So perhaps we see a reaction from the teams in the bottom 3, because also Sampdoria won. This is a massive one for both teams, for Hellas Verona and Cremonese.
I think Verona would have deserved to lose against Torino in the end, because yes, they found the goal from the set piece. They did a physical game, but in the end, Torino had too many chances. And if it wasn't for Lukic's mistake, they would have lost. Cremonese, on the opposite, they could have actually won it against Juventus. They hit the post. They are so unlucky, Cremonese. It is a team that I think is 5th or 6th in Serie A for shots, but they don't score. And they end up conceding, their goalkeepers before Radu and now Carnesecchi are having an amazing season. So they also concede a lot of shots. But for the way they play, they should have more points on the table. It is the gulf in class between Serie A and Serie B. The jump is high. So that's why a team that even play well, even with good ideas, even play with 2 up front, if the quality is not there, that's because that's why they struggle. Maybe they need to buy players with a little bit more Serie A experience. For this one, between the two, I think Cremonese is the best team. I think they propose a better football. Verona are very direct, very physical, but I don't like the midfield at all. I go for a double chance here, X2. I know the odds are not amazing. 186. But I think Cremonese, sooner or later, if they continue to play this way, they're going to pick up points, they're going to pick up 3 points. And what a best chance than doing it against a rival, a team that is not been impressing at all. So X2, Verona, Cremonese, 186.
Okay, this would be a surprise in the Bentegodi because Verona is the favorite for this game, and we still have one more game on Monday. This is Bologna-Atalanta. I think Atalanta fans, Danny, they should be worried. They are in really poor form. Only 1 point in the last 4 games. The last one was a draw in the very last minute thanks to Pasalic scoring the equalizer against Spezia. Whereas for Bologna, Danny, is a team that they are strong, playing at home in the Dallara. The last 3 games were home victories.
Yes, they are. And under Thiago Motta, they found a good style of football, possession, directness as well, with Arnautovic, top goal scorer, hasn't scored at the Olimpico, but went very close. I'm expecting Zirkzee to come back, so pace up front. Orsolini is having a good season as well. Yes, he's a side, Bologna, that now plays with the line much higher and control the game well. You know, I think they got interesting young players. With Atalanta, disappointing because they seem to have lost a bit of their identity. At the beginning of the season, they were conceding very few goals. They were very cautious. Now, Gasperini is rejigging things. He's changing some of the players' position. And they become a bit leaky again, so the old mistakes. But then you can see in the second half against Spezia, when they push forward, they do have the quality to score. But yeah, I don't think they are ready enough for the next step. It is Atalanta. It is a bit work in progress. So we probably had to get used to not being very, very consistent. They scored 4 in the last 2, but they conceded 5. Over 2.5 goals here at the Dallara. 193. I think both could score, but it could be a Bologna win with both to score. For example, over 2.5 goals, I think is the safest option, 193.
All right, Atalanta, they were stingy once upon a time in this Serie A, while they were winning. Now that they are losing, they are conceding way more goals. Well, this is it for the match day 17th, Danny, in the Serie A. Let's see, which one is your safe bet, your favorite bet?
The leaders, Napoli, are going to bounce back and they're going to win. The title race is not over, but they're going to fight until the end. I don't think what we saw at San Siro, we'll be seeing it again for a while. Napoli win, 144.
All right. And your accumulator, your ACCA?
3 games, Juventus Udinese under 3.5 goals, Salernitana Torino double chance, 1x, Milan Roma over 2.5 goals, total odds 503.
All right, Danny, thanks. I hope the Befana brings you a lot of good things.
I've been good. I've been good lately.
You've been good this year. So good luck to everyone who decide to bet on this match day. Of course, thanks for watching us. And don't forget, press the like, subscribe, tell us your comments and your tips for this match day. And see you very soon. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.